Hi, I'm Debbie Hartner. I'm Elsie Johnson. We are two sisters, Southern Cooking. Hey y'all, it's Debbie and Elsie. So today we're doing sandwiches and soups and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the heat of the summer. We're trying to just keep the kitchen as cool as possible. So we decided we were going to make bread, and I started doing some research. Who else bread should we do but Julia Child's recipe for sandwich bread, white sandwich bread? I mean, she's the mother of cooking. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to put in, I'm going to go ahead and pour in the water. Elsie's going to pour in the yeast and the sugar. And we're going to let this proof for like 5 minutes. And then we'll come back and add the rest of the water and half of the flour. And then we'll change it over to our dough hook, and then we'll put in the rest of our ingredients like our butter, salt, the rest of our flour, and we'll let you see this magnificent Julia Child's white sandwich bread. So we'll see you guys shortly. So what we're going to do is, now that it is proofed, it looks really good. It's coming up, foaming up really nice. We're going to go ahead and add in the rest of our water, and then we're going to put in probably about maybe 3 cups of flour here, and we're going to go ahead and mix it with the regular paddle, and then we're going to let it get a little shaggy. Then we're going to add in the rest of the flour, the butter, and the salt, and then we'll put the dough hook on it, and then we'll let it run for like 8 minutes. So we'll go ahead and do that. And our temperature of our water has to be in between 105 and 115. So we're going to run this kind of low, so it doesn't like spew the flour everywhere. All right, so it looks good. So we'll just go ahead and get this started. After it proofed for like 5 minutes, we added our flour, our salt, our butter, and our water, and we mixed it for probably about 8 to 10 minutes. And we only mixed it with the paddle for like maybe 2 to 3 minutes, let it get a little shaggy, and then we added the dough hook, and it whipped up into the creamiest white bread I've ever seen. It was just a beautiful recipe from Julia Child's. Okay y'all, so we are at a point to where we can take this dough out. I'm going to let Elsie take it out. I have a greased bowl here that we're going to put it in, and let me get the dough hook off.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. It's still a little tacky, but I think it'll do fine. Because you don't want to put too much extra flour in to tighten it up, because then you'll change the texture. And that's another thing too. That's why it's always good to have down like your pastry mat. So you just put a very little bit of flour in there. Because what happens is if you don't, then you put more flour down and then it dries out your bread. So you just want to be able to,
I'm just rolling this around, and
that's going to be a very tender bread, by the way, because it is still kind of loose. Okay guys, so we're going to cover this up for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we'll roll it out with our hands like Julia Child's did, and make it into a rectangle, and then we're going to fold it like an envelope and fold it under in thirds. And then we'll go ahead and put it in our pan, let it rise again, and then we'll bake it. And it's going to be so good, y'all. So we'll see you guys when we're ready for our second rise. Hey, y'all. So we're back, and our bread has risen. Oh my gosh. It was like doming at the top. So Elsie's going to go ahead and punch it down. And we're going to divide it up. So what we're going to do is Elsie and I both are going to, I'm going to give myself a little flour here so it's not as wet. So we're going to pat it out to where it's like a rectangle. like bigger than a sheet of paper, basically. This is the way Julia Childs does it. So we're following her recipe, so that's what we're doing. I tell you what, this is a very soft dough. So you want to put the seam side down. And tuck in your ends if you have any. See, like this is mine. So we're gonna let this rise for another hour. And then we are going to put it in the oven and we're gonna bake it. Okay, y'all, the bread is ready and it's ready to go into the oven at 375 for 30 to 35 minutes, depending upon your oven. The internal temperature of the bread will be 220 degrees. And if you don't have a thermometer to insert in, all you have to do is just knock on the top of the dome of the bread. And if it sounds hollow, then it's ready to be taken out. We will see you guys in our next video. And we can't wait to try out Julia Child's sandwich bread recipe. It's going to be good, y'all.
Our bread is cooled down. This is totally cool. Makes it much easier to slice. So I already cut off the end piece just to make sure that it was sliceable, and it's sliced really well. Slice all the way back and forth. Use your whole bread knife with a sawing motion.
Right, and don't push down. And make sure your bread is completely cooled for you to, just like she's doing is perfect. That's exactly how you have to do it. It's not a marathon. You just have to be able to take your bread. Look at that. Isn't that the most perfect piece of bread there? Just amazing. This is a beautiful recipe. This is Julia Child's recipe, so pretty excited about this. I'm just going to start stacking these. A lot of people have those little devices. I have one myself where you push the bread into and you cut it.
It's a guide.
It's a guide, but I'm telling you, as long as you allow your bread to cool down, you don't need a guide. I'm pretty proud of this. This is really pretty impressive. I'm doing this. You can make it as thick and as thin as you want. It's always more difficult when you get towards the end about how the bread's going to do, because it can get a little wonky. So, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is what it looks like when we're done. You don't need to have a guide or anything to line up your bread to cut it. Just make sure you let it at room temperature. Sawing motion back and forth, straight down. Don't push on it. Don't do short little jigs with it, because that will actually rip your bread. But this is exactly how you're supposed to cut your bread. So we will see you guys in our next video.
Kelsey.
And I'm Debbie.
We're Two Sisters Southern Cooking.
And we thank you for visiting our page. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.